After everything that's happened over these past few months, I thought the Gabbie Hanna and Jessi Smiles situation was finally going to be put to rest. Gabbie put out her side of what happened to them, and Jessi put out her side. After Jessi put out her side of what happened, Gabbie left the internet and was hopefully reflecting on the situation and leaving Jessi alone. But she's back at it again. The other day, Gabbie posted yet another video on Jessi Smiles. It's a mess, so let's get into it. Before we get into all the tea, I want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, Casetify. Right now, you can go to casetify.com/tspill and get 15% off your next and best phone case you'll ever have. Guys, I'm so excited about this because I'm someone that literally buys every cute phone case I see. I literally have a drawer of retired phone cases that have failed me and my expensive phone many times. You see, the problem is, normally the cute phone cases aren't the most protective. Casetify has the best of both worlds though. Their phone cases look good while also being super protective. They have something called an impact case, and it's engineered with 2 layers of Chi-Tech, which means you can drop your phone from like 6.6 feet and 9.8 feet with their ultra impact case. So I did 2 drop tests for you guys. This one I threw down the hall onto hardwood flooring and there wasn't even a scratch on it. Then I threw it down my basement stairs and I really didn't mean for it to hit the railing like that, but once again, it was completely fine. They also have so many design options to choose from. They work with artists from all around the world to design these cases, so they're just super unique. I picked out this scratch and sniff vintage sticker case and just look at it. The Christmas tree, the little skunk, the skeleton. Are you kidding me? And this one's an ultra impact case, so it's cute and it's protective. If you don't want to pick from one of the many designs they have already on their website, you can also get a bit more personal and customize your own case. You can add your name, monogram, whatever you want. I got this one printed with my channel name all over it with my favorite color, and I also got one engraved. The case I got engraved is actually one of their new compostable cases. They're 100% compostable, 100% biodegradable, while still having a drop protection of 4 feet. The most amazing thing is, Casetify will plant a tree every time they sell one of these. So just go to casetify.com/tspill for 15% off. That's casetify.com/tspill for 15% off. If you guys end up picking one up, send me a picture on like Twitter or something because I'd love to know what design you go with. Thank you Casetify for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into the tea. Sometimes I feel like we're constantly living in a never-ending Groundhog Day with Gabbie Hanna. Last year around June, Gabbie started the whole YouTube shadow ban me because of drama channels and Jessi Smiles rant, and uploaded the famous High School Bullies podcast. Last year around July, she took like a month off the internet and returned in August in what seemed like a much better headspace. For the remainder of the year, Gabbie had been doing her own thing, making music, staying out of drama, and no one was really talking about her. But just like clockwork, summer rolls around and Gabbie is back in the headlines. This time though, things have gone way too far. Gabbie has now returned with her series and posted another video on Jessi titled Chapter 6 Part 1, Smiles for the Camera. Now, we covered Jessi's whole video and talked about her side, and today we're going to talk about Gabbie Hanna's side. So, starting off, Gabbie included a long paragraph in the description which said, "Long time no see, I'm back. I felt myself being distracted from my goal and getting caught up in all the petty lies, wanting to explain and over-explain and explain again. And then I remembered why I did this series, so I could say my piece and never look back. Everything I wanted to say has been said in these vlogs. I can't control whether or not people listen, but repeating myself isn't going to change that. This is for me and my fans and for anyone else who actually cares to listen. All I've wanted all these years is peace and separation from the person who grew dangerously attached and obsessed to a short-lived, shallow friendship. Yes, we called each other best friends. We were young and meeting new people in Hollywood. It's really not that deep. I've done everything I can to remain civil and calm the waters, but she never stopped attacking. It got to a point where my silence was misquoted, where my lack of defense was an admission of guilt. So here I am, doing the thing I never wanted to do. I removed all the personal stories that I needed to vent out, but don't want to have public. Those are the ones that will end up in a folder on a hard drive there for my records. Those are my journal. What you see here is what I feel is relevant to the point without getting into details of what happened between young girls who barely knew each other 6 to 7 years ago. She said in her last video, as she always does, that she doesn't care what I say next and that she's letting it go. I highly doubt that, but we can all pray. I wanted to be done talking about this in 2015, but I'm not going to say I'll never speak about it again. As long as she and her friends continue lying, if I feel the need or desire to defend myself, I will. But for the most part, I'll be continuing my work on music and art. She's relentless because she has no other art or content that inspires her, so hopefully she can just find whatever that is and finally leave me alone. She said her side over and over, and now I've said mine. Let's see if that can be enough. It's kind of ironic how Gabbie is trying to claim that her friendship with Jessi actually wasn't as deep as people are making it out to be. This is like a theme throughout the entire video. Gabbie says multiple times how Jessi really wasn't her best friend. They only knew each other for a few months, and everyone is just making it seem like her and Jessi had this really deep friendship to try and make the situation sound even worse. It kind of reminds me of the whole Trisha Paytas and Gabbie drama, where Trisha made Gabbie out to seem like this crazy obsessed person and claimed they were never friends and pretty much tried to make Gabbie seem like an obsessed stalker. Anyways, the video starts off with Gabbie talking about Alex James. If you guys keep up with all the Gabbie Hanna drama videos, you probably know who Alex is. He used to be friends with Gabbie, and he was once really popular on Vine. He made multiple videos on Gabbie, calling her out and pretty much defending Jessi. I think Gabbie was trying to make Alex appear less credible by telling us all her bad experiences with him. Gabbie claimed Alex made comments about her weight, her nose, and talked about how Alex was actually the one who was friends with Curtis, even after everything that came out. Gabbie just doesn't understand how Jessi can be okay with Alex, who actually hung out and collabed with Curtis, yet be so mad at Gabbie for tweeting him when they weren't even friends yet. Gabbie actually filmed this video before Jessi's newest video came out, so now we know Jessi forgave Alex because he apologized to her both publicly and privately. And Jessi said Alex and her weren't even really friends like that, and they never have been. Gabbie also randomly threw in that Alex lied about getting into like a car accident once to cover up the fact that he got a nose job in lipo, which like, I don't know what that has to do with this whole situation, but I feel like it's just Gabbie trying to say, hey, this guy lied before, so he's probably lying now, and he's less credible. Then Gabbie moved on to Jessi Smiles. She spent most of this video trying to convince everyone that her and Jessi weren't close friends. Like I said, she was putting on her best Trisha Paytas act, trying to make Jessi seem like some obsessed person who's just trying to ruin her life. Gabbie loves to downplay, but also upplay her friendships with people to suit whatever scenario fits her argument best. She really upplayed her friendship with Trisha Paytas, yet now with Jessi, she's using her apparent lack of friendship to try and make herself seem less guilty. Gabbie said she doesn't keep up with Jessi at all and didn't even know she was pregnant. A lot of people gave her a ton of backlash over the series because Jessi is pregnant and pregnant women are under enough stress as it is. I kind of thought it was weird that Gabbie apparently had no idea that Jessi was pregnant when she brags about having so many receipts and fans sending her info all the time. Jessi's channel is literally filled with pregnancy videos, so it just seems kind of hard to believe. Gabbie also feels like Jessi and her friends were always bringing up her name, using her name for clicks in YouTube videos, subtweeting her, replying and liking shady tweets about Gabbie, yet when Gabbie responds to it, she's labeled as a person who's always starting drama. Gabbie really feels like she has the right to defend herself, especially when she's constantly being brought up. One of her examples of this was Jessi releasing a portion of their phone call, and in return, Gabbie feeling the need to release the full 3-hour call. The thing is though, I think the only reason Jessi released those phone calls on Twitter was because of the BuzzFeed article that came out where Gabbie mentioned her, and Gabbie constantly teasing her series. Gabbie's been talking about doing this big series, then quitting YouTube, and showed photos of her old phones and hard drives. Jessi probably wanted to get on top of it instead of worrying for weeks while Gabbie edits some series. Gabbie just really thinks Jessi is out to ruin her career. She thinks it's crazy that a tweet she made in bad taste and being in the same room as Curtis is ruining her reputation, and she's being labeled as the girl who hung out with her best friends. Now, this was actually a misconception that was being spread all over the internet. It's kind of like a game of telephone. So many people retell a story, eventually things get a little bit confusing. A lot of people thought Jessi and Gabbie were best friends before the TMZ article broke, but they actually weren't. At that time, Gabbie says Jessi was known as a clout chaser, and everyone was apparently saying that Jessi was lying, so she kind of just went along with it. Jessi and Gabbie became friends afterwards, and Gabbie says Jessi forgave her for her tweets. Jessi even cleared this up in her video from a few weeks ago. She said her and Gabbie became good friends after the article broke. Then we moved into the viral video that Jessi posted titled, "Gabbie Hanna needs to be stopped." Gabbie said before Jessi even posted that video, they were apparently texting and were actually on good terms. Then it came out that Gabbie was messaging people on Twitter that spoke out about Gabbie, apparently collabing and tweeting Curtis, and Gabbie was frantically messaging them, trying to tell them her side of the story. Jessi didn't like that she was doing that, so she made a video.
"Once we were friends, I literally never talked to or collabed with Curtis. For reasons that don't matter in my opinion, and to not spread hate or rumors, Jessi and I had a falling out and I had to make a choice to stop engaging with it. Since then, her and Jen started a hate campaign about me, saying that I ditched her to collab with her because he had more followers. I have never said that in my life, Gabbie. I have never in my life said that you left me to collab with Curtis because he had more followers."
Gabbie then moved on to her and Jessi's toxic friendship. She said Jessi would offer to pay for things for Gabbie because Gabbie would normally sit out on activities like getting their nails done to try and save some money, but Jessi would be like, no, I got you, and she would pay. Gabbie says Jessi would later throw those good deeds in her face or tell people that she was trying to use her. Once again, this is just another example of he said, she said. Gabbie goes on to say at one point she was getting really close with Jenna Marbles. She went on her podcast and they started to build a real friendship. Apparently, whenever Gabbie would post her hanging out with Jenna on Snapchat, Jessi would hit her up and start acting interested in her and wanting to come hang out, but if it was just Gabbie alone, Jessi wouldn't even reply. Once again, all of this is just he said, she said. Gabbie makes a lot of bold claims about Jessi throughout this entire video. She said Jessi is good at gaslighting people, she called her a manipulator, and claimed all these people are high school bullies, and she's just the weird girl that gets shoved into lockers. Yes, Gabbie actually edited her face onto this photo. Gabbie also put up text on the screen asking how people don't see how weird it is that a literal stranger is trying to take everything from her. She says every creator has turned against her purely based on the opinions of others. She feels like creators are just piling onto her and coming out with their stories about her because it's like a trend right now. Gabbie claims to have lost job and career opportunities, had people remove her from their playlist, her comments are filled with hate, all of this because she hurt someone's feelings in 2015. I think what Gabbie doesn't realize is that she also plays into the negative attention that she gets online. She's spent the past few months posting TikToks pretending to be crazy, going off on screaming rants to anyone who says anything to her, driving while recording herself, getting into Twitter arguments, and teasing everyone from her past about this big tell-all series. Unfortunately, this situation involves something very traumatic that happened to Jessi. Is it really worth making someone relive that over and over again just so you can be right? For a quick second, Gabbie takes an ounce of accountability and admits that she probably wasn't pleasant to be around, but quickly blames that on Jessi. Gabbie says that she was codependent to a narcissist, so of course she acted like that. Funny how now Gabbie is codependent on Jessi, but earlier they were strangers that were hardly friends. Closing off the video, Gabbie says Jessi's dream was to be an entertainer and she did it and Jessi didn't, so now Jessi is making it her problem. 2 days after Gabbie posted this video, she posted another near hour-long video titled "Jessi Smiles actually needs to be stopped." Gabbie starts off the video by showing her folder of receipts on people and her folder for an alleged lawsuit that's happening against everyone. She pulled up Jessi's video from last year and reacted to it point by point. She prefaced the video by saying that she needs to talk about what happened to Jessi because it's relevant to the topic. The whole video was about how crazy Gabbie thinks it is that people can say whatever they want about her, but the second she responds, she's the mean and manipulative one. She said the only reason she ever even messaged that person on Twitter, which then triggered Jessi to make a video, was because she thought she was actually going crazy. She genuinely thought that there was like proof out there that she was friends with Curtis or collabed with him or did something that she doesn't even remember. She thinks Jessi is out to ruin her life and only lives on the internet to talk about her whenever she's dropping music. After Gabbie's second video dropped, she then jumped over on Twitter and said, "I can't express how good it feels to finally defend myself and get this all out there. When I came into this, it wasn't about trying to get people on my side. It was about speaking the truth and not allowing them to continue to silence me from their opinions. So now I've said what I feel I needed to say and shown what I think is relevant. I'm not the type to get into all the personal details of how two people hurt each other 6 years ago, but I did need to stand up to my which I have. Therapists, counselor, friends, and family all warn me that victims usually aren't believed, especially at first, and especially in such a strange situation between two women who barely knew each other. But the important part is to speak the truth and stop giving them permission to use you at their whim. This is the truth. I'm free because I'm finally able to speak up for myself. I'm not worried about others' opinions, which have always been my struggle. I'm no longer at the mercy of strangers online. They no longer scare me. I'm able to let go and rebuild to start writing my next chapter in life. I'm free. Hopefully things can actually end between them, because I can't imagine the situation to be healthy for Jessi to keep reliving this and Gabbie to try and prove everyone wrong and make everyone see her as the true victim. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button because it really does help my channel, and I'll see you next time.